Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to
Woo!
Backbenchers. We're back. We're benching. We're doing all backs and benches. And I'm here with a new group. A new group today. We got Amy joining us for the first time. Amy, how are you doing?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. Thank you very much for asking.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you on. And obviously, Jordo, I feel like me and you are attached to the hip. We're on
Look at
this
us.
podcast so often. It's good
Can't
to see you
separate
as
us.
well. Mid rehearsal, I hear. How is all that
Man,
going?
it's good, yeah. Lots of dancing, lots of singing. It's killing me, but that's all right. You only live once,
Hey,
right?
hey, we love it. Look, we
Yeah.
already got Aston, showing love, new face. Also, guys, look,
Yeah.
we can see your names now. Before we couldn't. That's fixed. Good to
But
know.
how cool does Amy look? She's ready. She's got her headphones on. She's got a
Yeah,
mic. Like,
that's what I
Marcus,
was
I feel
saying.
like we're left out now. We need to get some more of this get up.
Yes,
Did you
hundred
guys
percent.
not get the memo? I literally
No,
sent out a memo
bugger.
before. We're
Yeah,
doing this formal.
it turns out we're a
Oh,
professional
damn.
podcast now, and we're not just these amateurs yapping online. But yeah, so Amy, obviously, you are a new face, and obviously, I assume you've been watching the season. What are your thoughts so far? Where are we at, and are you excited to get into discussing the episode?
I'm very, very keen. I am a long-time listener, first-time caller. Very, very keen to get into it. Have really enjoyed this season. I'm loving the subtlety of some plays that obviously we get to see as viewers, but you don't obviously get to know until you're after the fact. So very keen to get into it. Have a couple of favorite plays in this episode that I can't wait to get into, but otherwise just super duper stoked at how certain things have played out so far. Thanks, Sam.
So Sab with the classic.
So
But yeah, 100% agree. I feel like there's so much cool stuff happening right now in the game, and I feel like this episode, as I said, I was in my Mountain last week. I kind of wanted more, and I feel like we got more. Like I don't feel like we got like the climax of everything. I think that's definitely still to come. But man, we got some little small battles, which we'll discuss today. So speaking of, so Sab here has a classic little line, little like fries with that headset queen. Lovely reference. Let's talk about something that she referenced, which is the first thing we want to discuss. Potter pals. Sab brings up we have the Harry Potter music plays, and she compares all these people to different characters in this Harry Potter world. I'm not the biggest Potterhead in the world. Like I knew the names. I'm not saying I don't know the names. Were the comparisons? Did they make sense? Do we think? Let's go through them again. So we had Ed as Cedric Diggory, Pauline as Luna Lovegood, Todd as Harry Potter, Oscar as Ron Weasley, and Sab as Hermione. What do we think about these comparisons? Do we and I personally liked the whimsicalness of it, but what were you guys' thoughts?
well,
I'll just
can I
jump in. I'm so sorry.
yeah, go for gold. No, go.
I was just going to say I started off the episode cackling just because of how whimsical it was. I definitely think she hit it right on the nose when it comes to Pauline being Luna Lovegood. I think she's one of the very few people that have actually seen what is to come. I don't know if she's seeing into the future, but she's very much clued into what she could bring to the table. I think she might have gotten Ed wrong just because Cedric Diggory gets taken out very early into the Harry Potter game. You just see him and then you don't, but Ed's just playing this happy-go-lucky stealth game. So I'm thinking that we could explore this further, but definitely agree with Aston. Hermione was very, very accurate, and I felt that was a shoe-in.
Yeah, Jordan, what about you?
Oh, sorry, you're waiting for me. Well, I'm like you, Marcus. I'm not a really real Harry Potter fan, but I did know some of the characters, so I still had a good chuckle about it. Especially, the Pauline comparison. That was quite funny. And I just love how Sab's like, "Well, I'm going to be Hermione, whether you like it or not. That's me." But we all love Hermione, so we all love Sab. So why not go for it?
Yeah, I felt I definitely could. I definitely thought she was spot on. Like I don't know Harry Potter amazingly, but I felt like she definitely, when she described the characters, I felt like Pauline and Oscar were very accurate. Her being Hermione and Todd being Harry, I didn't exactly like that. Didn't fit my narrative of like because I see Harry Potter and Hermione as like the two main-ish characters with Ron, and I personally didn't see. Obviously, everyone sees themselves as the main characters in their story, so I'm not like taking. I definitely see the perspective, but like I don't know, maybe Todd was this golden goose that everyone was talking about. It only really felt like Oscar was really mentioning Todd's name the entire time. But yeah, do we have any? Obviously, Amy, you mentioned that you like Harry Potter a decent amount. I'd hope. Like, do you have any names? Like, who else is left?
Well, Loz, Bethany, and Eden didn't get.
Who are Hufflepuffs in the background? Eden, Loz, and Bethany. Any characters that come to mind for them?
I don't want to offend anyone, but I'm like, my husband and I here at home, we are the Eden fan club. I love him. Everything that he does, I'm just like, yes, bring it. But he is a little bit of a shite stirrer, if that's politically correct to say. So I'm a Potter nerd, so I've loved Harry Potter. So I'm going to say Peeves the poltergeist likes a bit of a gameplay, likes messing around with people, says one thing to one person and another to something else to another to make it his game. So I'm very, very happy with that. Who else do I think? Bethany. Bethany is hard to pick because she was so full on to start. Now we're starting to see a little bit of the cracks sort of coming down as the paranoia and the uncertainty kicks in. So you're welcome. So I'll come back to Bethany. I'll think Loz is very much a female Malfoy. She's straight to the point. She's cutthroat.
That's what I was thinking.
There is no way. No, because Voldemort. No, we won't draw that comparison.
He wants to take power over everyone.
Yes, but Malfoy does that too, but also still has a soft spot, and you can see that Loz still is trying to keep her alliances close, but also wants to be the one calling the shots. So I think that is a fair comparison for Loz. Who else hasn't gotten a
just
Bethany? Just Bethany. Oh my gosh. Let me think. To be fair, it kind of feels like Bethany's more of a Hermione and Sab is more of like a Ginny Weasley, and Sab's very much like a stronger personality than what Hermione presents as in the movies, especially. Sorry. Oh, John, I was talking you up before. It's okay. I'm still in black and I'm mourning you. I just wanted you to know that.
We love John. But yeah, I think they're great. They're great. What do you call them? Comparisons. I like that stuff personally. I really like when the players bring a bit of a unique kind of, like I said, I've been missing it a bit since Andrew's been gone. I felt like it was a good way to kind of bring us into the Andrew-less era. But something else that's cool about this era is not only are we not talking about Harry Potter and comparisons like that, we're also getting serious. And we're on a hunt. We're on a hunt right now. Guns are loaded. And it's threat hunting season. What was that thing that bang, bang, bang?
It's
everyone's
got their guns
loaded. So that's what I think I want to kind of chat about a lot in this episode. Is there was a lot of early discussions, like confessionals, strat chats, general vibes of just multiple people being thrown out as a threat. Or mentioning wanting to make a move and when. And that's what I think is really interesting about, like, you may think, like, I think perception is really important in this game, and not just being like, not only is what's beneficial to me, but what is everyone else seeing? Because for example, right, is Ed mentioning that not this vote, but the next vote, he wants to do something. And I could see it could definitely work, but I could definitely see what happened later in the episode shows that he might have missed the gun on trying to go for a threat. And even Lauren mentioning Todd and Ed being shields, so she's really pushing them as the threats in front of her. You mentioned Oscar needing a big move. Pauline's mentioned it for a while that she needed to kind of get a big move on her resume. What are our thoughts on the idea of, like, it's really feeling like every conversation right now is about getting at a threat, keeping in a threat, doing something with a threat. What do we think about?
Why am I a threat? Why are people thinking that I'm a threat? What have I done to be classified as a threat? There's like this paranoia, but also this excitement around who's the threat, and am I the threat? It's like am I the drama? Is it me? Am I bringing that drama? I'm really excited about all of these conversations because it means everybody's sort of turned a corner and thinking really strategically now. It's not just a fun game, and it's not just pointing a finger at somebody and them getting voted out. It's really trying to think about the next steps to make it to the end. So I think that this is coming, like the actual threat Spider-Man meme, you're pointing at you, you're pointing at me, is very much warranted now. And I'm excited to see who actually can provide a big enough reason to be potentially a threat, because look, thinking back to Mom Mountain last week, I definitely think that Lauren has the target on her back as the biggest threat, maybe now. You can't really sort of showcase strength as being the only winning factor in this game. I think that she has a voice that when she speaks, everybody's listening. So I'm very interested that if what you both think about whether or not there is somebody else who's potentially carrying the weight of being a bigger threat than Lauren at this stage.
No, I totally agree with you. No, I totally agree with you. Like, everything she says goes, and if she doesn't like something, she'll tell them. And if something's not going her way, like, it's obvious when she's not happy about that. She definitely is the key player in the game, and is also, the biggest threat to everyone. So if they're smart, they'll start cottoning on to what she's doing, and vote her out. But at the same time, if she's lasted this long getting this way, the way she's playing, keep it to the end. She deserves it. So
it's and that's what's super interesting is I feel like this group that's left, like even, for example, right, like even in the next time on, I feel like we're skipping a bit ahead, but Loz mentions that confessionals, there's these people that have been skating by. And like she has this perception of like, oh, it's me and Ed and Bethany and we're the big players and everyone else isn't a good player and like we're just gonna get rid of these goats. But that's what's so funny, is perception is reality, because like she's so focused on what she sees, it is not seeing what everyone else is doing. Whereas we're revealed, and I go into this ending being like, there really isn't anyone that's a goat. There's people that are aware that they haven't done as much as other people, but they're mentioning that. Whereas often in other seasons, when you watch these shows, there is people that just have no idea what they're doing and they're just coasting and they're just figuring it out as they go. Whereas at least someone like Pauline is like, I don't want to be a goat. Someone who does whatever I can to not be a goat. Even Oscar, for example, who you wouldn't even say is a goat at all, is saying like, I don't right now I'm playing like a goat. And it's like, if he's playing like a goat now, imagine what he does when he wants to make moves. So that's
he's been trying to make a move for the last 3 episodes. It's only just this time that it's worked, but whether it was his decision or everyone else's is, will he now think that he's on top because that tide boat out worked? Like, who actually orchestrated it really? Like, we don't know.
I think Oscar's pitch at the tribal, which we'll get into, I think that solidified the sort of positioning that he was going to take with that. But going back to Pauline, I just want to put a bit of a spotlight. Everybody is really downplaying her, but she walked around, I call it #croissants, because she literally walked around with those crusty, dusty croissants. Like, here, everybody, here is my clue. You may not even think it, but I'm going to show everyone that, like, my hand. And not one person thought of her. Everyone thought Loz. Everyone thought that there might have been something hidden in the sugar canister. But it literally, Pauline had it right there in front of her at every conceivable option. And that to me sort of gave her a massive tick in my book, because everybody's been downplaying, but she literally had something. She knew to keep it to herself, and she found it at a very good time, I think.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with her. I don't think she's been coasting at all. I think she's been smart and gradually building up to where she needs to be. Like, she hasn't been at the bottom where people are like, well, she's boring, get rid of her. She hasn't been at the top where she's a threat. So I think she's played it really well to get to where she is. And that whole croissant thing is just hilarious. Like,
it's the best.
Every scene she's in it, and then she runs and gets it at that moment when she's forgotten it. I was pissing myself. It was so
Same. And do you know what? That makes not just quality viewing time, because I was sitting there cackling going, oh my God, this girl, like, loved it, thought it was great. But then I'm also thinking, oh yes, honestly, credit the croissants. They just brought so much value to this episode, and otherwise made people think a little bit more. Well, made me think. I really was a fan. I forgot my train of thought. I was excited by the comment and the interaction. It made me very happy. But ultimately, I love the fact, I think I saw that somebody hated the fact that they had to stuff it inside the croissant. Naive me literally thought it was underneath, like, the croissant. She picked them up and there it was. But no, it was actually stuffed inside inside. Incredible. Like, did she take a bite? Did she find it? There is so much to think about here.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, this is worked out perfectly. Moving on to the very next thing, which is
Sorry.
Pauline, the idol. No, don't apologize. This is awesome. I love segues. I'm a big fan of segues. So look, you know, people wouldn't be surprised to know that I have a game crush on Pauline. She is fantastic at this game. And I feel like what's so interesting is I feel like at the start, she kind of really had this solid plan and it was working. And then she went through a period where she had to really lower down for a little bit and just be careful and play it safe. But she's constantly mentioned that she just, like, not in exact words, but it felt like she was just like waiting for an opportunity, waiting for something to be like pop up that she can just grab. And I feel like this is the perfect advantage for her to have. I think out of anyone on the cast, she's probably the best person to get it from like a neutral fan perspective of like, she's going to do something cool with this. Like if you give it to Todd, he just plays the idol at the next tribal and that's it. But someone like Pauline could do it in a way where she's not doing it just to save herself. And that's what I think is super interesting is so where do we think Pauline's game is currently right now that she has the idol, and like how much does it change her position in the game?
I think it changes a lot. I think it gives her a lot more confidence than what she originally had as well, that she's actually doing the right thing. Obviously, great gameplay is subjective. Everybody has their own favorite players that they've watched in all the different variations of the game. We all love the game. For me, I really enjoy the fact that she speaks up when it matters, but she knows how to hide behind the big personalities, the big tensions, the things that really sort of keep her subdued, but knows how to sort of pull the strings like a puppet master. This idol will change everything for her trajectory of her game. And I genuinely can't wait to see. I have a really strong suspicion that she will be, like what you've said, Marcus, she'll be calculated around how she uses it, because I don't think at this stage she needs to worry about the magnifying glass being on her and her game as per se. I think that she has enough people around her to still divert that tension, that pressure. But I do think she has the opportunity here to do something really cool and potentially to change the way that a vote can go and really implicate someone, get them going home instead of the original plan to be able to save herself. But very keen to get your thoughts. I definitely think that there is a whole realm of opportunities here for her.
Yeah,
I just want to know what the clue is. We didn't actually find out, did we? Do we know what the advantage was? All she said was sort of like bits and pieces, and then she tried to shove that big bloody giant thing in the side of her pocket.
Yeah, so it was an idol, correct?
It was.
Yeah, so I'm in the idol. So and I think it's so interesting because, and obviously I have a bit of insider knowledge because I've played with Pauline on a trial before, and she had this one moment where literally at the tribal she left my like mouth on the ground because she just had all this information and she tricked us all and she tricked everyone. She was like the only person that did the information and managed to pull it all together. And I just remember being like, if she's played before, she will definitely make it far. And that's what's so interesting about this game is like, if Pauline had to do stuff that made her look like a bigger threat, I would be more concerned about her making it to the end. But now I'm like, she's done stuff that no one knows about. So she has stuff on her resume still. She hasn't done nothing, but she's done nothing that no one is aware of. And she has an idol to make a huge move right at the end. Like, she doesn't need to play super out there right now that she has the idol. All she has to do is just get into a position where the idol is a huge move, gets rid of some big player, and then she wins the game.
Oh, for sure.
Let's just say my winner's pick is I'm feeling good right now. My winner's pick.
Is she on the top of your mountain, or do we have to wait? Can you tell us?
No, firstly, it's not my mountain; it's Mars' mountain. She comes through me and picks it. I don't pick it. and secondly, I don't even know if there's going to be my mountain this week because we don't want to spoil what's happening later in the episode. We want to keep the viewers hooked and
okay.
You know, we might do it right now. We might do it in 10 minutes. We might do it in an hour. We'll never know.
Oh, the suspense is killing me, and I've seen the episode. Oh,
but yeah, I think this changes the game a lot. And I think it changes the game in a more undercover way. I think she was kind of keen to like, I gotta explode. I gotta explode out here, or I'm gonna be a goat. Where I feel like now she can go back to what her strategy was and just be like, and just pick a moment. But speaking of picking a moment, we're zipping through this stuff right now. But hey, why not? Why not? We're enjoying it.
What's next, Marcus? I'm
Idle
excited.
hands. Idle hands. I feel like I love this challenge personally. Big fan of it. I feel like it's a classic LRG game. It's been done so often. Like, so Jordo, you've done it before. I've done it before. What do we think? Like, what is the best strategy for this?
I don't know, because when we played it, like we were just attacking each other the best, and we're just having to keep it steady as much as possible. But like, no one seemed to have a strategy when they played. I think Sab was the only one, which then Ed stole later.
Sab, incredible.
Yeah, it's a very stressful thing, because you want to go at them and knock their thing off, but at the same time, as soon as you move too far, yours is going to fall, so you lose anyway. So yeah, it's a very stressful thing to play. So as soon as I watched that, I was triggered, and I wasn't even in there with them. So.
I was triggered in an excited way. I love the game. Both my husband and I were literally just like, oh yeah, love this one. So really excited to watch it unfold. And I really just love that Sab comes up with this really cool way to be able to execute, like really out of the blue, just done so well. My jaw was on the floor. I went, yes. And then I love that Ed went, you know what, I can do that too. And we all know what happened as a result. But I think it's even cooler that they gave it to him as a prop. Like, well done, you absolutely demolished this. Masking tape couldn't cure this. You can take it as a memento for your immense
can't
strength.
use it ever again. You take it.
The protein shake obviously did its due diligence, and now it's returning tenfold. But no, really. Yeah, that's exactly right. It was just really, really fun to watch. But no, really enjoyed seeing how different people tried to navigate it as well. Like, there were a lot of lunges, but again, like, I can feel your frustration if you've been somebody who's played it, and I haven't, so therefore I can't directly relate. But that fear of just stepping a little bit too far and knocking your own over in the process of trying to get someone else's down, I can't relate, but definitely would be frustrating.
Yeah, it would have worked for Sab again too, had she thrown up a bit higher, because I thought Ed was going to use it against her, but he didn't. So if she had have actually got hers higher, she would have been fine. But she sort of just missed the mark at that point. So,
which is so disappointing, because I really wanted Sab to get this one. Not that I don't like Ed and the way he played, but I really just went, okay, I really hope that this is Sab's game. But is what it is. You're right. She just undercut it by just that little bit, and we could have had a different result.
Yeah, it's a good measure. I feel like there's a lot of strategies, because like it's definitely a physical challenge, but it's not like Ed winning shouldn't make it therefore like, oh, it's just a challenge that like the big strong dude wins, because it is a challenge where you can play a lot more calm. You can kind of play on the outside, you bait them, different things. I feel like it definitely, once the Sab started doing what she was doing, it kind of led to a one strategy fits all, and then Ed just was better at doing it. But I personally really like it. Do we think Ed, like, this is probably the first proper time that Ed's kind of revealed what we've all known, is that he's a humongous person and that he's going to destroy half the crop if he could. Do we think that's a good thing? Do you think like it's kind of inevitable? Like, why not start winning challenges because people are already going to think it no matter what? Or do you think he could have maybe not have slammed something down, breaking it in half in front of the whole crop?
I don't think he sort of was trying to do that. Like, he'd been trying the whole way through every episode.
Yeah.
I think this was just one of those moments he was lucky enough that he knew what to do to finally win, because he even said that at the end. He's like, I finally got one. Yes, now I can be happy. Now people will know that I've actually got a challenge. That's all I wanted. So
don't quote me on this.
He wasn't trying. Yeah.
pretty much straight after that, I'm fairly certain he turned around and he said, like, it was a different thing in the confessional. He said it to everybody that I needed to win this one. Everyone was like, he's a big dude, he should be winning. But then after the fact, he went, I knew I needed to win this one to get the result that, to make sure. I'm pretty sure he said something to that effect. So I think that there was a dual reason as to why this one really mattered to him, and whether it was to keep him safe or to drive a different outcome. So I'm thinking it is the right time for him to start winning, just to solidify his place and to make sure he just doesn't seem like this is niche, but like Kronk from the Emperor's New Groove. Like, he's just very go-lucky, he's very smiley, he's very happy. He just cruises along with Loz on his back, and he's like, we're just gonna cruise. It's about time that he actually shows that he does have some strength. He can show up at these challenges and make a big name for himself. And if Challenge Beast is the name, then that's a pretty good way to go, I think.
Yeah. Like, and that's my thing, is like, he's like, I definitely understand in the standard Survivor mentality of, oh, if you win a bunch of challenges, you're a big dude, like you're going to be the biggest threat and we'll get you out. Personally, I don't know about you, but I'm liking anyone's odds that's left against Ed. Like, when I mean as in liking their odds, I mean as in like most of them would sweep Ed.
Oh, for sure.
And that's not to say Ed's a bad person, but just strategy wise, he hasn't done anything. So like, I think a Survivor jury, a Survivor fanatic jury that comes for a whole weekend is not going to reward it to someone that they like. They're going to reward it to someone that played the best game. And that's my fear, is that Ed is planning to kind of take a Loz or someone to the end, thinking, oh, I'm just going to be the happy-go-lucky guy. She's going to do all the bad work, and then I'll get all the votes. I just don't think that will work.
And neither, but also you can hear Loz when she talks about it as well. She genuinely thinks that there is no one playing to the same game that she is, and that's why. And you're right, she is very looking down the peripheral of her game only. But I think that she's quite naive at this stage, because when you're only looking, in the realm of what you can see, you're not actually paying attention to the smaller little tidbits that are happening around you, which is why I think Sab has a better eye for what's happening around her and
100%.
who's doing what. And that's where I think, as much as Loz said in her confessional, I think I could sweep everyone here. I think that there's a little bit of unease around Sab, and I think that she can see that Sab's sort of playing a similar game, just not as punchy as, say, Loz is at this stage anyway.
Yeah, and that's so funny you say. Yeah, I actually semi forgot about the Loz comment about sweeping. Off the top of my head, I think there's obviously we know everyone's game, so we obviously, like, I'm not saying the jury at that time would have voted this way, but if the jury could see what we see of everyone's game, I think most of them, I think there is quite a few people on that cast that are beating Loz. So I think that's a negative on Loz, of showing that like the whole it's when everything. And that's what I think is interesting, right? Ed, in comparison to Loz, is Loz, everything's gone her way, and that's because she's been the best. She has been the person that's dominated the pre-merge, dominated the merge at the moment, blah blah blah. But everything's gone her way until this vote, whereas Eden has had things go his way, things not go his way, be at the absolute bottom, be at the absolute top, and he's kind of adapted around. So he is very much thinking like, the next vote is all that matters. Like, all I'm focusing on is getting through the next vote, and every day is a new day. Whereas for Loz, I feel like she could potentially, this could be a scenario of like, oh crap, like I got caught out of sleeping at the wheel. So yeah, that's kind of where I think things are heading right now.
Well, that's the thing as well, because she was saying how she had Todd and Ed. She wasn't going to take them to the end. They were just the shield, right? She said her alliance is with me and Eden, but they both just turned on her and went with Todd against Todd. So like,
she's going to flip.
Yeah. So that was clear. So yeah, it's going to be quite.
You know who I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but do you know who I feel like doesn't get the proper accolades? And I really, I'm a big supporter. I love Oscar. I think that he has been doing like an excellent job. He is who he is, and like literally talking directly to what he wants to do, making plans, executing plans. They may not go the way that everybody is intending on them going, but at the end of the day, he's never tried to do or be anything other than what he's saying. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
he also
I
hasn't
think
been voted, has he? And not once, I don't think. Has he? Has he had his name? Maybe once or twice, but never anything major where he could have gone. Like
it's
nothing,
been thrown around.
Yeah.
But
like even
nothing's been
that
executed.
episode, it was thrown around, but then no one went with it. They literally flipped again and went to something else.
And people are more inclined to say that somebody else is a bigger threat, and literally just sort of say, oh no, like, you know, Oscar's this, Oscar's that, and they'll say those things and sort of diminish his gameplay, but he still manages to avoid the hot seat.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely, that's what I think is so interesting about this cast, is that like Loz is definitely almost, and maybe she's just unaware of it, but it feels almost like she loves the hot seat. Like she loves being, and I can sometimes fall for this as well. Like when I've played fan games, is you're in charge and you feel like you're in charge and you feel like, oh, like I'm invincible. Like,
yeah, no one's going to touch me.
Yeah,
and then
feel nuts tell me I'm the best, because I am the best. Whereas I feel like
tell me you want to align with me. Who doesn't want to align with me?
Yeah, exactly. Whereas someone like Eden, Pauline, Oscar, they've all kind of had different varying levels of where they've stood, and so I feel they've definitely been very like, I just don't want to be at the top. As long as you don't see me as the top people, like that's all I care about. I don't care about where you see me right now, because when I make it to the end, then I'll convince you that I wasn't actually at the bottom.
Did either of you get a surge of joy like I did when Eden went straight to Oscar, and then they were just trying to sort of conspire, and then straight it was like, I don't want anyone to see we're talking, and then just separating. I went, yes, you two together making big moves would be invaluable, but that was just, for me, one of my highlights, other than the croissant 2024.
Yeah, so obviously the vote happens, and so it ended up being, what was the vote count? 4-2?
But what? Wasn't it 5-3?
5-3? I can't remember.
5-3. Yeah,
it's a long
5-3.
But yeah, 5-3. Todd goes. It was the two that flipped, and that was Eden and Bethany. I felt like I was kind of, maybe if Bethany can give me a bit of insight, even Todd, when we discuss later. I felt like going in that it was pretty clear that they were flipping, and then Marcus and Matt, iconic duo. Shout out to Dan or whoever's on the Survivor cam for the continuous burning of my energy levels. But yeah, so when going into the vote, I felt like yeah, they were setting up that it could go either way, but it felt it made sense in my eyes for them to flip, and it felt like that was what they were, whenever they were talking about flipping to certain people, I just believed them in this conversations more than the other. But then when we get there, Bethany's like, I need people to pitch to me, and I was very surprised that it felt very open. Was that?
No, I didn't get that at all.
They were leaving it to the vote.
I think it was more everyone was repetitively trying to pitch to Bethany, and you could see that she was having repetitive conversations again and again and again, and by the end of it she had no idea what the actual plan was, because I think that there was a really well edited sequence towards the end where there was just so many people coming to her and saying this is where it's going, and she's going yeah, but then by the end of it she herself just was like, I don't want to do, like, help, I need help. And it was very much, I from my understanding, she was already on struggle street walking in there, and then Todd's pitch of the way that he worded it, the way that he came about, really just solidified to her that she had no idea what was happening.
She was just in panic mode, wasn't she? She just needed that one little tip, over the edge where she went, okay, well, I'm going to go with that vote. So, yeah, it was quite funny.
Yeah, I did love, like, what I love so much about Tribal Council is you can't be honest. Like, almost there's never something you say at Tribal Council where you're actually being honest. And if you are, it's through the most murkiest air of just like misdirection and context and all these things. And like, I love how like Oscar's like, whoever I voted for, like whoever I'm voting with you. And then Bethany goes, and I need the other side to pitch me a bit more.
And no one said anything. And
just openly said in front of Oscar, like, whoever's going against Oscar, I need you to speak now.
Did anyone catch Eden's face when Bethany said she had no idea what she was doing? Like, it was very quick. It was a very split, like, panic face. It was just like, and then looked down, and I just went, oh my gosh. It was hilarious to watch, but I can't even imagine what it would have been like in that moment, because no one wanted to make their intentions clear, and no one wanted to be able to say anything straightforward. And I agree. The way that Oscar went about it, it was not pointing any fingers. And I believe that there was a question asked as well about grudges being held. And I think that, again, Oscar delivered on a response for that. We're saying, like, you can't take offense to it. You can't hold any grudges in this game, because it's just the nature of the game. And that's why I think he wasn't afraid to take that chance at that tribal as well. Ooh. That's very interesting. I didn't think that was a possibility in this vote.
But yeah, do you think that like literally what Nick says here? I definitely believe I felt like Oscar was the bravest
I
at
agree.
the tribal council, and that won the day. Because I think Bethany just obviously I definitely feel like Eden and was like, I feel like he knew what he was doing and kind of just reassured with Bethany probably at some point. But I definitely feel like Oscar stepping up and being like, look, everyone knows, like he was saying it in the most casual way ever, but I think everyone knew what he was meaning. And I think he knew that everyone knew, and he was just being like, look, Bethany, I'm sick of having to whisper around you and try and do this in a stupid way. I'm voting with you. Are you voting with me? Let's do it.
Yeah, make it happen.
Reassurance? I'm here, Mr. Reassurance. I'm not sure if that's great for him long term, because it definitely reveals him a bit more. And I know that like a lot of people have been mentioning that like Oscar's keen to do a big move. So is this officially being his big move, a big target? Yeah, that's kind of what do we think about that, Jordo?
Well, do you think people will overlook that, considering like his name was mentioned as well in that episode a few times, and then not once did anyone vote. Not one person voted even his name once. Like, I thought there was someone who wasn't sure they'd put his name up, but there wasn't. And so now maybe because everyone's sort of on his side, and then Loz has now just lost Todd, like what's going to happen there? It could change everything. I don't think he's in trouble. I think it's actually helped him, to be honest.
I do too, and especially now because Loz has seen where Bethany's and Eden's their loyalties lie, which is flippant. So she's going to be on the repair and finally understand what it feels like not to be in charge of the game. And I think that is actually going to be a really huge wake-up call for her now. And look, losing a shield is, obviously inevitable in the game, but ultimately it really does bring out the best and worst of players. So she'll either keep it cool, calm, and collected and try to regain what she's lost, or she is going to spiral into paranoia. But I'm very excited to see where it lands.
Well, she's already, as we mentioned before in the next episode, she's already going at people who are under the radar. So that's why I think he might be safe, because he hasn't been under the radar, and she's trying to fight to save herself. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens next episode. So let's move on.
Yeah, well, let's bring in another guest, another superstar, one of my personal favorite players from the season. We got Todd.
The shield himself, Harry Potter.
It's Harry Potter himself.
I'm so excited.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Todd.
Welcome.
Couldn't help myself.
It's lovely to meet you virtually. We all had a blast watching you play. I hope you had a great time. My first question is actually from the chat. It's the first thing that gets brought up. What about Todd's idol fake out? Do you want to talk about this?
Clutching at straws.
And just because I'll be honest, I felt even you didn't believe what you were saying when you said it. What was the reaction?
It wasn't actually shown in the edit either, but I think I picked up my bag a couple of times and pretended to like rummage around in it as though there was really something in there. But I don't think anyone was buying it.
Todd, I'm not going to lie. I was full because there was so much going on, and I was like literally on the edge. I was screaming at the TV. There was a few of us watching at the same time. And I'm like, when did he even bloody find that? Like, I actually believed it at first. And everyone's like, Jordan, he's just bluffing. I'm like, oh, shit. All right. Because there was so much happening. I'm like, did I miss something? Like, this is awesome. And I thought it was like another, little twist that you're going to save yourself, but you just lied to us. So,
yeah, look, I'd seen the writing on the wall. So even if it's just even if it's one person that you can potentially scare and sway and flip, I think it's worth it. But yeah, as I said, no one was really picking up what I was putting down.
Fair enough. Yeah, you're already done for, I think, weren't you? You just had to bow out.
You saw the writing on the wall. I was just going to say, what do you think was one of the hardest things about the actual entire experience? Is there something that you would pinpoint as being the hardest thing that you wouldn't have entirely expected going in?
I'm actually going to say that the aftermath was the hardest. So just the weekend is so physically and mentally exhausting. You're on all the time. Like, I'd actually probably say it's more mentally exhausting than physically exhausting. You don't get a break. You're constantly thinking about the game, and overnight you don't sleep really well. Like, you're playing things out in your head. There was a few things that I knew I wanted to come back and do at the start of day 2. And that week after playing, I was a wreck. Like, at work, I cried 3 or 4 times for no reason whatsoever.
Wow.
Just burst into tears just because I was so physically and mentally drained. And I just was not prepared for that.
Yeah, that's so. Look, I've only played online versions of the game. Huge fan. I was wondering, because even after that game, and it was just a one-night event, I myself felt so emotionally and physically drained, because you don't know who to trust, you don't know what to do, and you actually braved the elements, so they say, for 2 days. I was wondering how it would feel to come out of an event, or out of an experience like that. So thank you for being so honest and vulnerable.
Yeah, and you just play things over in your head over and over again. Like, what if I did that? What if this happened at this point in time? I think that's it's the best thing about Survivor, is there's so many different permutations and variables, and it's what makes the game so amazing. Is every time you play, there be a completely different outcome, but it also is what just wrecks your mind for days and weeks afterwards, is playing all those things out over and over again.
Yeah. What do you think?
Sorry to bring a downer onto it, but I actually really enjoyed the weekend.
Those two things can exist at the same time. For me, it's just really interesting.
But what do you think your downfall was, Todd? Because Oscar brought up your name a few times, right? But I never saw that, so I was always wondering why the hell he did. And then that finally got. But I'm just I never really saw why. So what do you think your downfall was?
I actually I'd love to. I haven't had a chance to talk to Oscar about this, and it's actually something that I'm really curious to find out from him as to why, because I don't think it was actually it wasn't super clear in the edit as to why I was the person. He did say I was the biggest target. He thought I was pulling the strings, but I'm not sure why it was that he thought that. And I think that was my biggest downfall. He picked me at merge and decided I was the one that had to go, and 3 votes in a row was targeting me. And if you're that persistent, you're eventually going to get your target. And so that was my downfall. I think that he just had zeroed in on me and just wanted me gone for whatever reason. I thought that. Look, I thought I was playing an okay game. I thought I had made some good bonds with a range of different people. I thought I wasn't seen as possibly the biggest threat at any point in time. So I was surprised that out of a few other people in the game, that Oscar had decided that I was that biggest threat at that point in time.
Do you think maybe it's because I don't know, because obviously Loz had you and Ed, sorry. Do you think maybe out of the 3 of them, you were the least intimidating? So he's we've got to get rid of one of them. He's the one I'm going for.
Yeah, I don't know. Love to ask him.
I think he did mention early on, he did say something about you guys playing a very similar game.
Yeah, well liked.
The well liked blending in but I'm to be honest, that would be my guess. I definitely think you and Oscar not saying you guys are similar personality wise, but I think definitely game wise and where you fit into the game was very similar. A question here that Nick put in, I like. At Tribal, you said some people would be considered threats when they shouldn't be. Who were you referring to? And have you changed your mind now that you've seen the episodes and gotten a full scope?
That's a good question. I think I might have been referring to myself and trying to downplay that I was a threat. But it was probably a little bit too late for that.
The paranoia that you sent off into Bethany, thinking that it was about her, and it was a very clever move on your behalf. I genuinely did not think that it was all deflection on you by any means, but very, very clever. Well done.
Yeah, like I knew that. I knew at some point people were going to see me as a threat. Like I'd won a couple of individual challenges. And when I think at the previous tribal, I was asked about that and I'm trying to downplay it and saying, oh, one of them was actually a pair challenge with Andrew. And then, yeah, I just thought there were probably bigger threats at that point in time. So I was kind of always trying to just push that away from me. But like Oscar just kept pushing it back on. So there was nothing I could really do.
Another question here, just going to chuck in. For Todd, do you have any regrets from the game that you think you could have switched things up for you?
So actually, I think my biggest regret, and I've thought about this a lot, is what was that? Sorry.
As you do, I feel like it's a classic.
Yeah. So I think my biggest threat was when we voted out John the first time. So, like, I actually had developed, I thought in a fairly short time, a pretty good bond with John. John had flipped on his original tribe to come over with Loz, Ed and I. And he copped a lot of flack for that. I actually saw John as someone that I thought was quite loyal to me and Ed and Loz. He actually wasn't with Bethany, Eden, and Anthea in an alliance and in his original tribe. So it's not, to me, he didn't turn on people that he was actually in an alliance with. And obviously Bethany and Eden did a pretty good job of trying to put thoughts into Loz's head around him being a flip-flopper. But I actually didn't see it that way. I thought, yes, he's come over to work with us, but he's actually loyal to us. He wants to continue voting with us. Loz just was adamant at that vote that it had to be John. And so it kind of left Ed and I in a difficult position there that do we just go with Ed and Bethany and Loz? There's three there. At the best case scenario, if we wanted to try to keep John, we could force a 3-3 tie. And really, like at that vote, if there was going to be any point in time to do it, it could have been then, because I had individual immunity. If we went to a rock draw, it wasn't going to be me that was going. John wouldn't have been going because it would have been tied votes on him. So it would have put Bethany and Loz in a really interesting position to be like, we're early in the game. Do you want a 1 in 3 shot of going home because of rocks? So it would have been a big risky move, and it probably didn't align to what I was trying to do on day one. I was trying to play a fairly low-key, safe game at that point in time, not make too many waves, not stick my neck out too far. But in hindsight, like John was someone that I felt I trusted, and a vote that I thought I had with someone that I could work with. And Eden was someone that that I never really actually trusted, even though there was a few votes where we worked together. I saw him as a big threat. We voted together for convenience, not necessarily because we were in an alliance. And I probably would have preferred to go with keeping John at that point in time. So that was my biggest regret, I think.
Yeah, good answer.
Not pushing harder to try to save John.
And that's the thing, it's always hindsight, right? Because at the time, like the knowledge you have, like I think you made the right choice. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, if you nitpick, like here's where I would have gone for it. That's fine. Yeah. It's fine to have that after. So obviously, as a soft standard question, but I want to ask it. Casting is open. Talk to me about your process of how you applied for the show, your experience as a whole, and your pitch to why people should apply to play and hopefully replicate a game similar to yours.
Look, I think anyone who has an interest in Survivor, big or small, should put in an application. It's so much fun. You're never going to challenge yourself more than what you will on that weekend, physically, mentally. But you're also going to meet a whole bunch of great people that you just are going to be connected to for the rest of your life. Like, it's such a amazing experience, and you're bonded over that shared experience forever. And then this community is just so amazing that once you're in, like, there's no getting out. So I would really encourage anyone to apply. It's an amazing experience.
Hey, that's a good pitch. I love it. Any other questions from you guys?
I think you might have already answered this one, but I do want to ask it anyway, just in case it's not John. But is there anyone else that you wish that you could have aligned with sooner, or you wish that you had the time to build a better relationship with, that could have potentially altered the direction of your game? Is there anyone that pretty much that you're looking back retrospectively that you could have actually tried a little bit harder with?
That's a really interesting question. I saw this, like, I actually don't feel that I had any super tight, like, I didn't have an alliance with anyone. It wasn't like I'd made a final 3, final 4, ride or die, whatever you want to call it. Like, I hadn't made that with anyone. I felt pre-merge, after the tribe swap, there was a lot of votes for convenience and for that we just had similar thoughts about what happened. Like, Ed, Loz and I were often seen as a 3, but it wasn't as though we'd ever formalized that and said, hey, we're a 3, we're going deep together. We just, there was one conversation where it was actually, we're on the bottom here after the tribe swap. We just got to look out for each other, and we got to vote together. And then we just did whatever it took to make sure that we kind of stayed as a 3 to get through to merge. And that was more about kind of shared survival than anything, because we were on the bottom at that point. And then when Eden and Bethany, when we were the 5, there was talk about that being a 5, and we voted together in that first vote post-merge. But I think everyone post-merge, like, it was a split fight, like on John and Aiden. It was fairly, like, the whole tribe actually came together on that, even though not everyone necessarily wanted it. So I never felt that I actually had a tight alliance with anyone, and that was what I was looking for at this point in the game. Like, actually being like, okay, how am I going to get a few people together that are going to get me through the next few votes? And that was why I saw this as an opportunity when we had that little switch of 5 and 5 to actually approach Oscar, Pauline, Sab, and say, hey, like, I'm happy to be working with you guys. And I actually pitched to them. I said, I don't have an alliance. I haven't made any promises to anyone. I'm happy to sit here and make a final 4 promise with you guys. And I thought I had a pretty good pitch to them, and a suggestion around trying to keep, like, the illusion of let's vote Canberra strong, split the votes. And then all of a sudden we've got a 4 that's a majority 4 without anyone actually realizing that has happened. And I thought it was a pretty good pitch. The problem was I was pitching it to the one person in the game who wanted me gone more than anyone. I felt I was I felt I'd made inroads. I actually thought I potentially had Sab and maybe even Pauline considering that as an option. But in hindsight, like, Oscar was never going to go for it.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that about the 4. I definitely felt it was a good pitch. Like, I was like, that's a good idea. And I part of me thought one week, oh, maybe Oscar's smart. Maybe he'll actually reconsider going for you and be like, oh, that actually is a good pick. But I guess he was pretty set in his ways. So to the final question I have is just wrapping up. Wrapping up you as a player. What do you hope to be remembered for, and what was this experience as a whole for you?
What do I hope to be remembered for? Well, it's always nice when, like, you don't want to be voted out, but it's always nice when you're voted out because people are seeing you as a threat. So I think people saw me as someone who made some good social connections with people, that had played a pretty good game of trying to be in the middle and maybe not be the person who was the target or the person being perceived as pulling the strings all the time. But I also probably wasn't really in much danger until that point in time. So I think I played a pretty good game in terms of not being someone that was seen as someone who had to go or that was weak early, like in the game. And I won a couple of individual immunities as well, so you're always proud of that, and obviously making it to merge. So there were some things that I'm really proud of in my game, but I would love to go a little bit deeper.
Yeah, that's always the goal, unless you win. But thank you so much for giving us your time tonight to chat, Todd. It's been really awesome. I feel like we're getting into the juicier jury members where they have some things going on, and it was good to kind of pick your brain, particularly with some of those thoughts in regards to John and everything. That hopefully we'll get to see you in a season in the future, potentially. Would you be keen to come back?
Look, I've been asked this a few times, and I've been really fortunate that I've been involved behind the scenes with Survivor Canberra, and I really love that experience too. So it's kind of like weighing up whether do I want to continue doing that I really enjoy being behind the scenes, or do I want to go through all that stress again of actually playing. So I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'd love to. I really enjoyed it, but it's a lot.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. I feel like. Well, hopefully we see you in the future, and if not, we thank you for being a crucial part of the Canberra Survivor experience, and yeah, we hope to see you around sometime soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Oh, that was lovely. That was really cool.
Bye, Todd. I just want to give him a hug.
I know the Toddcast is over.
The Toddcast. I like
The
that.
Toddcast is over.
Today, Amy, in the little things.
All of it was pre-planned. I said to my husband.
Todd's not on right now, but Todd better be on Survivor Canberra All Stars if it ever happens. Quacky.
Yes.
Who's Quacky?
Todd is a legend from some. I don't know who Quacky is, but I like his brain. He's a smart brain. And do you know who else has a smart brain?
Not you. Don't say
smart
it.
Brain. Ma does. It's time for my mountain. I'm going to be quick with this because I've been told I yap, so I'm going to try.
Yeah, we're already running late.
So starting off, this is a bit of a weird list. It's going to get weirder. This is more of an experimental list for this one, just a heads up. But firstly, Todd's gone. Rip Todd.
Where's he on the mountain?
Where's he on the mountain? He's over here, dead.
Beautiful.
Trying to climb back up.
You know, Aiden's doing some parkour.
I still love Aiden. He's like break dancing on the mountain. That's great.
I just didn't realize I put him on the wrong way, but whatever, we roll. Anyway, this is the list for this week. So, end of the day, I'm not a strategy person. I'm not a strategy person at all. But you got to give me something. You got to give me something. And Ed, I love you. And he's someone that probably out of everyone on the cast, I would probably enjoy hanging out with the most. He seems like a fun guy. Seems like a great guy to be around. God damn it, Ed. Make a move. Like, do something, please. That's why you're here.
Mate, his quads weigh him down. He can't think without them. Like, he can't use his brain because his quads get in the way.
Do something. I need you to do something.
He drank the
Sab. And this is just because, yet again, she's almost the opposite. I feel like she's done stuff, but it's been as a team. I need her to kind of take charge with a vote, ideally. This is obviously, I don't remember everything. There could be something from episode 2 where she did something. But just right now, I feel like this is where I am. It's more praise of everyone else.
Gosh, I felt like she should be higher than that. But anyway.
Then we've got Pauline. I don't know, everyone's probably shocked about this.
A little bit.
Pauline, not on the foot. So
yeah,
she's
you put her on the top.
When I make them bigger, that's me saying they could rock it up next episode with the right calls. So Pauline's there, and kind of right next to it in a smaller category is Lauren. And I didn't want to put her down bottom because I went, no, she's still in charge. She's still doing good stuff. This is her first blip. I'm not going to take her all the way down, but Pauline can easily jump over her with a good episode. Lauren's on thin ice on where she is. Right. Next up, we've got Bethany, who I love. Smart, simple decision. I feel like she was overwhelmed, but that was because she was in the middle, and that's totally fair that she got overwhelmed. Really liked the way that she handled things, took in all the information, made the right call. And the other two, we got Oscar. Yes, yes. He made the move. He finally did what I've been asking him to do for like 5 weeks now. Love it. But there's only one person. And this person has final twos with everyone, has apparently he's like, oh, the younger people are getting targeted, we got to work together. Oh, the girls get targeted, we got to work together. Oh, us guys got to sit together, we can't make the girls sit together. He's doing it to everyone. He's involved in
guys though. What the hell?
He's still a guy, Eden, and he's not only at the top of the mountain, he's doing laps. He's got his skis, he's got his helmet on, he's doing laps around the mountain at the top, and he's just skiing past everyone. They're getting snow in their eyes, and they're like, ah. Oh. He's like, catch you later, losers. And he's skiing back up on top of the mountain. This is my mountain for this week. Sorry about the terrible Photoshop, Eden. I tried my best to make your head not look huge, but I'm not very good at that.
But you were born that way, so
there you go. It's so tough to pick who wins from now. It's such a good group. It's
that's
such
good.
A good group.
That's
like genuinely. There's genuinely ways for every single person here to win.
Except for Ed at this stage, unless he pulls something out of his hat right now.
Ed could win every challenge and do something. But there's no one that you're going, oh, there's no chance they win.
No, fair. No notes about Eden. I think that you've, knocked it out of the park.
This is art. This is all just to get praise from this man. I've returned home so touched. Yes. Also, there's another thing I want to discuss. Feel free to leave comments and thoughts, or I want vibes for the finale. Are we doing a tally? Am I doing just an award thing? What's the vibe? What do people want? Because if it's
gone sour, Marcus.
If it's sorry, let's not say vibe. Let's say. What's the consensus? I don't know. I'm too tired.
Consensus is a good word, yeah.
Yeah. Look at this. Don't count my boy Ed out. Okay. I told you at the description to start. To stop making a final two. The Ed slander is disrespectful. It's not about him. It's just what is he doing strategy wise. Like if someone can tell me that, I will take everything back.
But if he can turn around next week and orchestrate a really amazing blindside, get a challenge win and say this was my plan all along, amazing. But if he's going to keep coasting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, especially as a dude, like for me, I'm way more critical of the guys because I know for girls in this community, in the game, sometimes it can be hard to be vocal and to be like, I want to take charge. It's hard sometimes because sometimes but a guy like Ed, he's huge and people respect him and he clearly gets listened to. He's got to make more of a move. Whereas like for me, someone like Lauren being as badass as she's been, like is even more impressive because it's like, dude, this is not common. This is not common in this community. Justice for Kronk. Get out of here.
Oh God.
But let's say, a Homer. Okay, yeah, I'll think of something. I'll wear a suit or something. We'll do something silly. We'll do something like an award thing.
We'll do up on closing.
We'll do something funny. Jordan will think of something funny. He's
maybe do the Marchula and just give roses out to specific plays in the season.
Stuff like that. We'll think of something. But anyway, I'm getting all this hate in the comments. I don't want this anymore. So I'm going to end this. I'm going to finish up with thank you so much, Amy, for having you on. It was honestly a pleasure. Your opinions were great. Jordo, love you as always. You handsome man. Go back to rehearsing and being a physical specimen. If anyone is watching this, I know it's most likely just people that I know or cast or crew, or if you've randomly stumbled across this and you've managed to get an hour and 4 minutes in, casting is open for the next season of Canberra Survivor. It is the best experience possible in Canberra. I know, right? There's so many things to do in Canberra. This is the best. Trust me.
It is.
I'll put my life on it. This is the best thing to do in Canberra. So if you ever have the chance and you're ever interested, please apply. Some really cool people I know will apply, and it's going to be really awesome. Thank you so much for checking us out today. All 18 people sticking at all the way to the end. That's really awesome. We love you guys. And super excited for the next episode this Friday. Check it out. And we'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.